games and performances, including drowning in oil, climate corpses, and smoke and mirrors. You'll just have to wait and see. There'll also be speeches, music, opportunities for regen, and of course, communal food. And then we'll round up with a People's Assembly before we wrap up, get in our transport and head away from St Ives. So that's the plan. But just a couple of safety points. We want everyone to be safe during this rebellion. Remember, we're still in a global pandemic. We must protest responsibly. So please, I encourage you to wear your masks, regularly sanitize your hands, maintain social distance with those outside of your household.
If you're just joining us now,
and respect, please,
part 2.
That we're here in the community.
The march is about to start.
As their guests. Let's make a good impression.
So the march is going from here, from a hill overlooking St Ives.
Finally, water safety.
There's quite a lot of people here.
We're going to be protesting close to the sea at times. Here in St Ives, at this time, there are spring tides. The currents
We got the health and safety warnings are going on at the moment.
And they can change very quickly. Please, do not be tempted to go onto the rocks at the headlands either side of Carbis Bay.
And that's actually very good advice.
They are very dangerous.
Very slippery.
And it is also at this time a restricted area, and the police will be obliged to prevent access. So let's bear that in mind, please. Finally then, what are we going to do today? We're going to... That's right. Okay, I understand that the order of march will be something like this. It's probably changed since I wrote this down, but this is the broad outline. The march will be led by Samba 1, renamed the Pink Menace.
Okay, so that's the Samba band that's going to be
Then
leading the
we'll
way.
lead a group of rebels. Then we will have the Whale. Oh, hang on.
So we're getting the order of
we
procession
need
here.
some flag carriers. I think there might be a few volunteers in here, don't you? Good. Then it'll be, after the Whale, another group of rebels, please. And then we need to leave a gap for the world.
Yeah.
The world will be coming in the middle, accompanied by creatures and a bathtub.
So we're just going to pass you over to Zoe, who's going to speak with
another group of rebels,
Bird Girl.
please. Then Samba
Maya
2,
Rose. Over to you, Zoe.
another group of rebels.
Hi Rose, yeah, tell us why you've come down.
Hi, yeah, so I've come down from the Bristol area yesterday, really excited to be here, and yeah, I'm here for a few different reasons. I think the main one is just that as a young person, I feel incredibly let down by government, which is why we're sounding the alarm today. It's really exciting, and we're making this note to remind our government that we're not going away, they can't silence us. The climate change issue is going to be here regardless of how long they ignore us, and they have to do something about it.
So what are you off to do now?
I'm holding a banner at the front of the protest, which is going to be really exciting. And I'm also speaking later. I'm also speaking later at the island about global climate justice. So I think today's going to be a great day.
Okay. A message for the G7 leaders?
Action! I want action now. It is that simple. Climate change could be solved today if they wanted to. They just constantly choose to prioritise other things. I want climate action now.
Great. I'll follow you heading to find your banner.
So we've got the Energies building. The sun has finally broken through. All the different groups from the Extinction Rebellion all over the country have all descended here on this hill overlooking St. Ives. People have come as far as Dundee, travelled all the way down here to be here to make noise and to send very loud, clear messages to the G7 leaders and to their entourage and also to their guests. It's going to spin around here. You can see we've got quite a lot of banners, we've got flag holders, we've got, of course, the Zamba bands. I think we've got 3 different Zamba bands in place. We've just had some speeches from various different people we're going to try and catch up with. And I'm just going to pan over here, so I'm just going to hold you up here so you can see where we're going to be walking to. We're going to walk the whole way down to St. Ives. We're going to travel across this way, along the seafront, as far as we can, going through the towns. There's quite a lot of press around, international press from people from all different media from around the world. And it's a very good time and opportunity to show the best of Extinction Rebellion, of our non-violent direct action, and in the most colourful way. It really is. It's like a carnival. Great energy. We've got a person on stilts ahead of us there. Representing the oceans. We heard earlier on about the oceans, about the dire threat that they're under, with the pH level changing. Also for the fact that we've got the oceans, we've got the vast amount of carbon dioxide that gets absorbed. Oh, they're looking for a whale. We've got the banner people coming behind us.
From the Art Factory.
How you go?
We've got a showroom of cod today, and we are going to be installing them at the island later.
Amazing, amazing. I saw you at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yes, at 5 o'clock this morning I was out with Ocean Rebellion. We have to act now on the seas. We want G7 to act now on the seas. By 2045 there will be no fish left in the sea due to the acidification. And at the moment we're at 8.06 pH. We're going to be at 7.95 pH by 2045. That means no fish in the sea by 2045. So let's demand that G7 act on fisheries and marine pollution immediately.
Amazing, amazing. From the art blockers, and everyone here is from the art blockers?
No, these are my codlings, and I am the cod mother today.
These are codlings, yeah?
My codlings.
Yeah?
We are in a shoal.
Yeah?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
There you go. Where are you guys from?
Glasgow.
Scotland. Okay, Glasgow. So the eyes of the world are going to be on Glasgow in October. Yeah.
Move down towards the centre bank.
What does the G7 build-up mean to COP26? So, you know, you're like, yeah, we're here to make some noise.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Keep up the good work. Oh, sorry. So yeah, so it's just huge amounts of people here from all over there from Scotland. I got people here going on about the ocean's alarm, the Arctic ice is melting, heating. We're talking about the acidifications. Acidification is affecting not just coral bleaching, but also all marine life is under threat. We've got this amazing, amazing dragon here. Look at this. It says planet before profit. Just before they get going, I'm going to say hello. Hello in there, how are you doing? There you go. There you go. What's going on?
We are the dragon.
You're the dragon?
Monster.
Yeah.
From Stroud.
It's dragon monster from Stroud.
Gloucestershire, actually. Not just
Gloucestershire. Look at this. Look at this. And what does this represent?
do you know what? I haven't got a good answer for that.
Yeah.
The scariness of climate change.
The scariness of climate change from Stroud. Going to have to walk out so you can see this. This is quite big. It's extremely colourful. We got some sign of singing starting. Let's go and hear Marcus.
Time to act. Now's the time to act. The government must act now. 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 Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. G7 is all greenwashing. 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 Real actions what you lack. Real actions what you lack. Real actions what you lack. Emissions are still rising. Emissions are still rising. Emissions are still rising. Emissions are still rising.
Vlad, can you hear me?
Still rising. Now's the time to act.
Okay.
Now's the time.
Should I be able to hear the audio?
The media
okay.
must tell the truth. The media must tell the truth. The media must tell the truth. The media must tell the truth.
Okay, I'm just checking in with Vlad, making sure everything's working okay. We've got no technical hitches. Everything's good.
Never turning back. We need citizens' assemblies. We need citizens' assemblies. We need citizens' assemblies.
Hi, so here we are at the march, the Extinction Rebellion march. Can you introduce yourself and tell me where you're from?
Hi, my name is Lautaro Ilayux. I'm originally from Colombia. I'm here.
And why have you come here today?
Well, I've come because the resistant G7 is very important supporting Extinction Rebellion, because what the group of seven, or the most powerful nation economically, are doing to the planet, it is unacceptable. The extraction of resources and sell for profit and money is destroying communities, is destroying lives, is destroying ecosystems, and this is why I'm here supporting Extinction Rebellion against the G7.
What would you like to say if you can meet the G7 leaders? You're part of the delegation. I'm not sure if they've allowed them in. So
yeah, unfortunately, the government didn't allow us to go present our messages from the most affected people and areas. So what I would like to tell them is simply think about what you're doing, and think about who you want to serve. Do you want to serve the elite, the 1% that hold the money and the power, or do you want to really represent the people and the power? Because right now you're not representing us. You're not speaking for us. You're speaking for corporate interests. So I'm here representing us people from the global south that will get eradicated with climate change. So that's what I would ask them.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just great thank you for Extinction Rebellion and everyone supporting it, because it is really important that we sound the alarm of what is happening, not only for the climate emergency, but the social emergency that's happening around the world right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great to meet you.
There's other people around.
Are you up for doing a quick interview?
Okay, here we go. So the march is just about to start. So what's your name?
Sarah Lennon.
And where have you come from?
I've come down from Gloucestershire, from Stroud.
Stroud, okay. So Stroud are like they seem to be everywhere. So tell me what's going on. Like we got the G7, we got the world leaders flying in, minus China. Why is this so important for the climate movement?
So in a couple of months' time, we've got what's called the COP26. And what's going to be happening now is the G7, the largest economies in the world, apart from China, are getting together, and they're basically going to decide what offers and what promises are going to be made at COP26. And we're here to say we don't want offers, we don't want promises, we want you to start taking action now.
So we've seen, you're talking about like the promises. We've seen like Boris talking about Build Back Better, and he only gave like 2-3 billion out of like, tens of billions. And we've seen the same with the G7 countries. So we hear about all these targets they put in place. but like we need concrete like actions put in place. So these leaders got 3 days here. You know, what do we want to take out of this, or what do we need to happen?
Yeah, so we're here. We're saying we're watching you. We can see what's happening. You know, so it's greenwashing on a global scale is taking place. Our leaders are still investing more in the carbon economy, in fossil fuels, in keeping business as usual going, and we need to transform that. We need to mobilise. There's talk now of a Marshall Plan for the environment. That's what's needed. We need to stop the destruction, stop harming, and start the process of repair. It's no longer good enough to stop. We have to actively start repairing things. And we're here saying, we're watching what you're doing, we can see what you're doing, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. And you just mentioned the Marshall Plan. That was like kind of like to build back the world economy. So, and they literally put like, you know, I don't know, half the GDP into it. So you're talking about like we're talking like a wartime effort into sorting the climate crisis, or what is that about?
Yeah, well, it's akin to a Marshall Plan. It's not exactly a Marshall Plan is what's required, but it is that level of mobilisation, and it is that level of saying, it's never been done before, so what? It's unprecedented, so what? Nobody ever before has had to face protecting life on Earth. You know, so we have become a force of nature. We've caused a geological epoch to unfold because of our actions. And so now we need to take unprecedented action to stop that harm. And it's the time for incremental steps has passed. It is unprecedented. I don't know how to frame it large enough for what's required, but it is that level of we have to throw everything at this in an attempt to win, because if we don't, we all lose. You know, we don't protect the economy by not acting. We don't protect ourselves by not acting. We don't protect ourselves by allowing other people to take the hit. If we don't win this, we all lose.
Yeah, powerful words. Thank you very much. Anything else to add before I go and join the march?
I'd also like to say I'd like the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill to be on the agenda at the G7, which is a piece of legislation which outlines the steps that governments need to start taking to addressing this issue.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. So Sarah, so she's talking about the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill. They've got about 100 MPs in UK have signed up.
We have Paul.
We got Paul.
UK Met scientist.
Oh, we got Paul. How you doing? Paul, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
There you go. So I'm just going to hold this towards you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So Paul, you're a former scientist.
Yeah, I worked for the Met Office as a scientist for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And mostly engineering though. I'm a science instrument maker.
Yeah.
And so I've known about the climate crisis now since the mid-90s. If you think about it, it's amazing that it's taken 30 odd years for people to really get their act together and to start addressing this problem seriously. The people over there in the G7, they need to really understand that from now on, every single decision they make, every act that they undertake needs to be viewed through the prism of climate change. This is so serious. It's not just a question of business as usual. It's about a question of survival of the human race. Those guys are all old guys. They're all going to be dead soon. I'm going to be dead soon. But I'm going to have children, I'm going to have grandchildren, and I'm going to have great-grandchildren. Yeah. And I want those people to have a future. Yeah. I want them to live in a world which is not going to be devolving down to some kind of anarchy where only the strongest have survived.
It's okay, you can sit here. And that's what it will descend into. It will turn into anarchy. It will turn into water. We're going to be fighting over water, we're going to be fighting over land, over food. People don't really kind of connect the dots.
Correct. That's what it is. Anarchy is perhaps the wrong word to use, because anarchy believe it or not, is all about people coming together and doing the right thing and not telling other people how to live their lives. That what we will be getting is a kind of anti-anarchy where there's strong rule. We're already beginning to see signs of that in the way that people react and live on the streets, knife-wielding gangs, drug running, all of those things. These are just harbingers of the way that the world will become if we don't get a grip on this. There is answers, there's solutions out there, and there's lots and lots of dedicated people who are trying to pursue the right path. But we need to understand, we need to educate, and we need to influence the people over there so that they understand and they use their power that they have to actually turn this situation around.
Amazing, amazing. Just one more question, because you understand climate science for like the last 25 years, 35 years, okay, for a very, very long time. And you've got these people who are still kind of skeptic about the kind of level of urgency. What do you say?
Well, it's a well-known fact that many of the so-called think tanks that were advising particularly the US government were influenced by big oil money, and they were spending a lot of time and effort into trying to prevent the real truth getting out because they saw it as damaging to their business models. Those people have basically queered the path, queered the ground, if you like, and caused a lot of problems. The evidence is out there. It's quite plain and simple. I've worked, one of the projects that I worked on was the Argo project, which is a big international project, science project, which was to measure global sea temperatures. The whole point of measuring the heat content of the oceans was to work out how much the oceans are going to expand by, because that's where the major component of sea level rise is going to come from. We all know that things expand when they get hot, and that is what is going to happen to the oceans. It won't be the melting of the ice caps. They will add some measure towards the sea level rise, but basically it's going to be heating of the world's oceans. And when we started that project, we initially thought that measuring the temperature down at 2,000 meters down, that would be a good baseline. Well, we've already discovered that the influence of climate change has gone down past that 2,000 meters. We're affecting the bottom of the oceans in ways that we do not understand. We have not even explored them. We know more about the surface of the moon than we know about the deep sea ocean, and yet we're destroying that by our actions here today on the surface. And basically, it's going to cause us problems going forwards.
Right. Thank you very much. That was very informative, very scary as well.
Okay. Sorry, don't have nightmares.
No, it's okay. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay.
There you go. So the march is now started. We got some crowd control going on here because there's so many people, which is great turnout. I'm gonna start. How you doing?
You alright, mate? You alright?
Good.
Look at you up in your game with all the fancy kit.
There we go. Do you want to say a word?
Yes, of course, yes.
There you go. I'm gonna take this off here. There you go. So, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm part of Extinction Rebellion, Mid Cornwall.
And where are you from?
I'm from Cornwall, from South Coast.
Oh, so you're a local then?
I'd be a local rebel, yes, indeed. So.
What does this G7 mean to you on your doorstep? All the world leaders descending to your hometown.
Well, it's rather crazy. We've got these people from all over the world coming in from all over to rural, remote Cornwall, where there isn't the infrastructure for, and it's completely unnecessary. Why do we need to have something like this in this day and age? We've all been working on Zoom and Teams for the last year. Why couldn't they do the same for that?
Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. You know, you don't need to be flying in from all over the world.
No, and that would have a much lower carbon footprint, so it just seems unnecessary in this day and age. And it's also rather weird to have just 7 people from 7 world leaders coming to basically advance their own agendas, whereas I think as a whole planet we need to be working together to try and actually reduce our carbon emissions, because it's the planet we all live on.
Yeah, no, it's very true, yeah. Why just 7? We need collectively everybody working together. And it really is an old boys club, even though, well, female club, you know, but, you know, and what they said that directly affects all of us.
Oh, well, without a doubt, and actually the 7 nations we've got here are the ones that are actually all outputting the highest CO2 per capita. If you basically look at the highest CO2 output per capita in the world, it's basically all the G7 countries that are actually the top of that. So and those of us like the UK, which is very high up that list, and obviously the US at the top of that list, actually emits probably about 100 times more CO2 per person than those which are near the bottom of the list. And interestingly, the ones which have had the highest excess deaths in association with COVID, it almost exactly matches all the G7 countries which are here at the moment. So, and all those G7 countries can afford to be vaccinating people and then try to carry on as business as usual. But we need to actually stop the business as usual. We actually need business as unusual. A bit like a year and a half ago, we all stopped, and the world went quiet. The birds started tweeting again. We saw the animals and the whole place getting rewilded again. That should be more normal for this planet.
Amazing, amazing. I'm going to run to the front because it's quite hard to hear you. And anything last to say?
Well, thank you for watching this. Come along, get involved in your local XR group, still continue to write to your MP, vote for something different, support people's assemblies, and let's work together to improve this for everybody throughout the whole world.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Nick. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
I'm just here with Mark here, and just want to say a belated happy birthday to you. Mark, why have you come down today?
I'm here with the Stop HS2 crew. HS2 is absolutely intrinsic to the system that we need to bring down. This is just so much a part of all the ecocide and all the dreadful things that we are doing to our planet. We have to stop HS2, and if we stop HS2, we have a really good chance of doing something about the system that holds it up. Thank you.
And yeah, so you've come down with HS2 and you've got the G7 leaders. What would you like to say to them?
Stop denying the truth. We need to tell the truth. We have a future that is just being taken and ripped away from our children. We have to get back online. We have to do something for our children.
So HS2 is a giant, very expensive to go on train track going across the UK. If people wanted to get involved in that campaign, what should they do?
Look at HS2 Rebellion Facebook, look at Stop HS2 Facebook. Come and join us. Come to the camps. Say what you have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is quite an amazing scene here. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rebels all streaming out. And still they're coming. They're backed up the whole way there. I'm just going to put a figure on it. I think there's well over 1,000 rebels from all over the country here descending on Cornwall. That's how important this summit is to the climate. We've got this dragon raising the alarm. Lots of messages very clearly. The theme of waking up, act now, nature needs help. Everything is dying, which is true because we are now living through the 6th mass extinction. They've even given it a name because it's man-made. They measure that by the background death rates of mammals and insects and everything alive on the planet. what's been happening in the last couple of years, a couple of decades, is so alarming that now we've got David Attenborough speaking out. We've got the International Energy Agency, who just now have reported that we cannot have any new oil and gas extraction. So the International Energy Agency is the world's leading authority on energy, on oil and gas, renewables. So we've got them speaking out. It's time to take heed of what's going on. Former scientific advisor to the UK government. Who's an Extinction Rebellion supporter. So much so, he's actually been to quite a lot of court cases, giving evidence that the actions of metals is out of necessity.
Okay. So I'm going to run to the front. I'm going to hand you over to Zoe.
Hi, so I'm here with Rupert Reed on the march. Rupert, why have you come here?
Well, this is a place where the world's eyes are on us at the moment. It's not every year, not even every decade, that the G7 comes to the UK. And of course, this is an absolutely crucial year because this is like a dress rehearsal for the climate COP later this year in Glasgow. So we're here to try to put pressure and to tell the truth about the reality of the situation, which is that maybe the G7 are going to come up with some good things here. I really hope so. I'm quite pleased, for example, about their plan to finally tax the digital behemoths. If we really were to tax the Amazon, no, I got that wrong. If we really were to tax Amazon, we could be able to save the Amazon. I had that so well prepared. But of course, the reality is that the G7 are going to fail us here. So I'm also here to help to make us ready to pivot, because we need to be ready this year and this decade to move more heavily in terms of taking things into our own hands, in terms of turning nonviolent direct action into a way of being, into a way of regenerating the world, regenerating the soil. The G7 are going to fail us, even if they come up with some good stuff. And we need to be ready to move into our full power this year and this decade in response.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I think it's really, really important that people understand that this year is just so crucial because of these big international meetings, but even more because of the post-COVID reset, right? COVID offers us the chance, after all this horrible carnage, COVID offers us the chance to actually produce a transformed normal, to bring some sanity to the situation. It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. If we miss it, it really is kind of game over. So this decade is crucial, everybody knows that. But this year, the next 12 months, is even more crucial than usual because the post-COVID reset is happening now. And what the G7 decide to do about it, what happens at the COPs, is going to determine what happens to our children. So it's just so vital we speak out now and we act now.
Rupert, you've recently written a book. Do you want to tell me about it?
Well, so I recently wrote a book called Parents for a Future, which calls for an even larger uprising to follow on to the uprising which Extinction Rebellion has initiated. What's central to my argument is the idea that if our children can rise up and go on strike, then surely we can. So a lot of people don't necessarily want to get arrested and lie down in the street, whatever. But I'm hoping that an awful lot of people are going to be ready to rise to the challenge this year and this decade and take action in their workplaces, up to and including strike action if necessary. Like I say, if our children can do symbolic strikes, Fridays for Future, why can't we have a Parents for a Future movement that will actually be us all stepping into our power and doing what's necessary. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the book. It's pretty cheap. There's an Audible version. I hope people may want to read it.
Also, people are watching this from around the world on Global Facebook, Global Exiles Facebook. If they want to get involved in Extinction Rebellion and climate protests, what should they do?
Well, you should get involved, and there's so many ways to get involved. Obviously, with something like this, you can come out on the streets as we're doing, because it's right here. You can express solidarity on social media. I'd urge people to sign up to organisations like Extinction Rebellion for alerts, email alerts, etc. And yeah, like I was saying, part of what I'm trying to call for in my recent book is for us to broaden the scope of what we do in this movement. I want to see mass workplace-based activism. I want to see activism in professional associations, in trade unions, where people are saying, look, it's now or never. The post-COVID reset is a unique opportunity. The 2020s are the decade in which it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. So we need to have action happening in every sphere, including crucially in the workplace and including crucially strikes, Parents for a Future, something like that. That's what's got to happen. It needs to happen all over the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Back over to Fergal.
Hi there. Can you introduce yourself and tell me why you're here today?
My name's Tamsin and I'm from Truro in Cornwall, and I'm here to raise my voice for those that have no voice of their own for any reason. So there's lots of climate change is affecting lots of really remote communities that don't have the stage that we have here in the UK to make our voices heard. But also the issues with the climate are affecting the animal population, who also have no voice. So those of us that have a voice need to shout loud and make our voices heard.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So I'm here with. Sorry, what's your name?
I'm Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna just walk backwards so you can see what I'm looking at here. Joe's got this most amazing. He's done the HMS Big Business, and it's been pulled along here. It looks like we've got somebody who's drowning in promises in the back here. So Joe, talk to me. What's going on?
Well, here I've made this. I've got this bath, and we've put the green represents the greenwash.
Yeah.
And there's a chap in the bath who's quite privileged. He may work for a bit. He may be a company executive of a big business, one of those big businesses, or maybe he is a head of state.
Yeah.
And then we have here the toxic fossil fuels, which is a bit of an addiction, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the addiction, and then we have the money which goes with these fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And the greed, and then the byproduct of this is ecocide.
Sorry, on ecocide.
Ecocide. We have the oil creates ecocide.
Yeah. Okay.
He's bathing in this greenwash.
So you got the toxic fossil fuels that's filling up the bath.
Yeah.
And then it looks like you got a lot of money that's like floating around in the dirty oil.
He's consuming the oil.
Yeah.
And the money. He's addicted to both of the money and the oil.
Yeah. No, very good, very good.
Okay.
And so you're calling it HMS Big Business?
Yes.
And this is what's going on with the G7, because it's all about money.
It's all about money, unfortunately. They can't separate the money from the fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And they still want things to improve, but it's so difficult because they're trying their best, but without getting rid of this oil, you're not ever going to solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. So that's the HMS Big Business, which kind of sums up really with the G7. You know, it was put together to sort out, like originally it was about currency. The most developed financial countries in the world getting together, and then it went from there. It turned, I think it was like 1970s after the oil crisis, and then 1976 they had Russia joined, became the G8 for a while, and Russia got kicked out, then back down to the G7. A lot of people have been talking about the fact that we haven't had, like China hasn't had a seat at the table. and that's because it's not seen as a developed financial country, because they also have indicators such as GDP. So you're working out how many 1.3 billion GDP people. Oh, here we go. Just recognised. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. What's your name?
Victoria.
And what are you doing here today, Victoria?
Well, can't you guess?
Yeah, I can guess, but like for the viewers.
No, so I'm here. I'm staying at the Animal Rebellion campsite, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's massive support, and we're putting the message out about everything. Mm-hmm. And I want people to know that yesterday, a group of young people went to a little sandy beach in 2 cars, and they got stopped by the police, and they held them up for 3 hours as they checked through the car to find something to pin on them. They'd done absolutely nothing wrong. 2 of them have never this is the first time they've come to a protest anyway.
Yeah.
And in the end, the police found a little tube of super glue and a flare, and they arrested them in case they might cause criminal damage.
Right.
3 of these young people have been taken to Exeter police station, which is like 2 hours drive away.
Yeah.
It is absolutely outrageous. 2 of them are somewhere else locally, and 3 of them we don't actually know where they are.
That's awful.
It is appalling.
That is shocking.
And we heard the police say this is a staged event.
Yeah. So you just have to walk a bit quicker. We're blocking these people. Yeah.
Fortunately, some legal advisors turned up, and they were absolutely appalled at what was going on. I think the police were quite embarrassed in themselves. Mm-hmm. There were like 40 police, 8 vans, blocking a local road. So the villagers were all upset, like, what's going on?
You know, it's been crazy. It's crazy. And what are you handing out here? You got flyers?
I have got flyers. No, my phone broke, unfortunately.
There you go. Can I take a flyer?
Yeah.
Just there.
Oh, there.
There we go. There we go. Amazing.
So I'm talking to people about stopping HS2 as well.
Yeah. So here we go. We've got about Stop HS2 super infrastructure projects that are going on here. It's which if people. Yeah.
What are the police here to do?
There we go. Yeah, I'm blocking these people. I better get out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna pass you over to Alex.
Can you introduce yourself and what brought you here today?
My name is Willow, and I'm here with the Animal Rebellion. We're here to demand a plant-based food system, because the current system cannot sustain the global population.
Can you tell us what part of the Animal Rebellion? What do you guys do?
So obviously we're campaigning for a plant-based food system, so we're here, we're going to be joining in the marches, waving the banners.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's not her, you know.
I know.
Outrageous.
I've
40 police.
I've seen it happen before. Yeah. That's shocking. Keep up the good work. I better go. Keep on there. There you go. How you doing?
I'm alright, you?
Yeah.
How's your flat?
What?
How's your flat?
It's rented.
Excellent, well done.
What a palaver.
How did you do that?
Hmm?
How did you do that?
I did all the rooms separately.
Oh, did you? How many
Yeah.
people?
Hmm?
How many rooms?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Justice now. Climate justice now, and we'll be the change that the world needs to see. We'll be the change that the world needs to see. We'll be the change that the world needs to see. Climate justice now. Ambulance! Ambulance!
Oh. Okay, we've got everyone's getting off the road. There's a car coming.
Is it an ambulance?
No, it's not an ambulance, it's just a local resident. But it's good to see the speed that like everybody gets off the road, well versed here. It's actually quicker being behind an Extinction Rebellion march than it is with all the police barriers all over St. Ives. So in case you're just joining us, we are here on the first day of the summit, of the G7 summit here in St. Ives in Cornwall, in the very southwest tip of the United Kingdom. We are now on a march from people from Extinction Rebellion all over the country who are here to raise the alarm, make lots of noise and send messages that are very clear to our leader and the leaders around the world. There's a lot of international press here, so it's a very good opportunity to show what Extinction Rebellion is all about. A non-violent direct action organisation. It's been well facilitated. So let's give you a pan around of just what it looks like. Lots of onlookers. So I'm going to pass you back over to Zoe.
Hi, so I'm here with, let me know who you are, and I'm presuming you're with Animal Rebellion.
I'm here with Animal, Extinction and Money Rebellion, and my name is Chris and I'm a Cornish rebel.
So you're on your home turf here. Tell me what's going on and how it's been for you so far.
Absolutely amazing. It's a marvellous atmosphere. We've had really, well, I think they're on a kind of politeness behaviour, the police here. It's marvellous, not like in London sometimes when we've had trouble. It's beautiful, coming together with like minds, all knowing that we need to do so much about the planet and not get us, we're already heading, even with the current attempts, we're going to 2.4 degrees above industrial levels, so it's already really, really dangerous. We need to disinvest from fossil fuels, disinvest from meat products, stop fishing the oceans and the seas. The seas and the oceans are what need protecting first and foremost. Every second breath we take comes from the ocean, and it's being hit by the equivalent of 5 atomic bombs per second with the amount of heat it's absorbing. There's an awful lot that we can do, and we all, if we take our own passions and our own beliefs about what we find most important together, we can make these changes, and we do need to make these changes. The ancestors are with us, supporting us. We're here now. I've recently become a grandmother. It's for all the future children, animals, fish, reptiles, all life, and flora and fauna, all together. We need to protect it. We've done a lot of damage. We've lived through a very short period of opulence and excess. We have a guilt in the global north about the excessive lives that we've lived and the amount of emissions and the products that we've bought and the extractivism that we've done. We have a duty to do our best to protect the global south and the places that are already suffering. The Cornish seas are already as hot as 1,000 kilometres further south. It's warming, and even our own experiences here are making a difference with our weather patterns and climate changes.
So if people wanted to get involved in climate activism, what would you suggest to them?
Whatever they feel is the best for them. So obviously there's the Greenpeace's, Friends of the Earth, WWFs and all of the petition sites and those people you can support financially. Extinction Rebellion is making a big noise. We're sounding the alarm today, and we are here actually. Come and join us. It'd be amazing if people came down and joined us. We're a non-violent direct action group. So as our Animal Rebellion and Money Rebellion, we're trying to change the systems that have actually caused all of these issues in the first place over this short period of time we've been talking about. So look us up on websites, on Facebook, we're everywhere. We're
Thank you.
Everywhere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I've just been having a nice little chat with this young man here. What's your name?
My name is John Scott.
John Scott, and I've just learned that John Scott is actually 82 and part of XOR. So John, where are you from?
I'm from Totnes area in Devon, and I've been an XR representative for 3 or 4 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you were saying, what was your former profession?
My former profession was as a merchant navy officer.
Yeah. And you understand a lot what's happening to the oceans and our planet.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We have to stand up and make our leaders very aware of the damaging that's been done to humanity, to the planet, and of course our oceans.
Wow. And why are you doing it? Why do you feel so passionate about this?
I'm doing this because I feel I have to stand up in the time of life that I have remaining to me to protest and to try and make it a better world for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Amazing, amazing. And if you could say anything to the G7 leaders, what would you say to them?
I would say, please, G7 leaders, do wake up and take action now to prevent further damage to our fragile planet.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Anything else to add before? Keep up the good work. And I hope I'm as active as you when I'm 82.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay, I just see a dragon just heading there. Here we've got a dragon. This march is going on and on. Loads and loads of people have turned up. Hi! Are you up for an interview under there?
Yeah, if you want.
Hello!
We've got the press, guys.
Yes, so tell us where you are and what's going on.
I'm in the middle of the rubbish monster. This is the Gloucester XR. They were shorter rib, so I've joined in. Yes, marching along to hopefully bring attention to the climate crisis and plastic pollution.
And how's it been so far?
Yes, fun and noisy.
Thank you. Sound the alarm, that is the message of today. Interviews? Yeah, brilliant. Oh, yes. Tell us your message from today.
Okay, my message from today comes from 2005. We've got to keep moving. Where the last G7 meeting in this country. Watch me back, Wendy.
Yeah, I'm watching you back.
Where the slogan was, "Make poverty history." So what I'm saying is, we've seen these summits before and nothing has happened, and so we need to make sure that the pledges that are made are kept to, and that there is action and not pledges. And we need to see a change because this world is drowning in denial.
Did you want to say something as well? No, not really. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so we're now descending down onto St. Ives, and I've been talking to this another young man here who's been with Extinction Rebellion right from the start. So, what's your name?
My name is Chris Philpott, and I was starting Extinction Rebellion by taking the 5 London bridges when there was first action.
Okay, right at the very start.
At the very start, and I've also done all the training, and I'm from the Warwick District XR, that's in the Midlands.
Yeah.
And this is my friend Matt, who's in the comms media. And we're a good example. I'm 70 and having to use a stick to walk.
Yeah.
And Matt is 25. And we put out the newsletter together. So.
And what motivated you to join Extinction Rebellion?
Well, I've been writing a book about climate change and spiritual values for the last 5 years, so I know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I've come to the conclusion rebellion is the only way. And I've known Jonathan Porritt for years, and he's come to the same conclusion. Civil disobedience is the only way to move things.
And obviously you're taken to the streets. You came down here because it's so important to participate and protest. What would you say to the G7 leaders and to Boris?
What I'd say, Boris, is you need to wake up. The climate is going to collapse and all your profits are going to go because capitalism will collapse unless we take care of the whole of the planet. And the COVID epidemic has shown you connections. I want the G7 to stand up for democracy and defend against autocratic regimes as well. Yeah. Because democracy works when it's from the bottom upwards. And Gail is quite right in saying that you need to put pressure. And look, in history, it's worked. It's worked in the past, it'll work again. And we've got bigger. Why, after the second rebellion, did Corbyn declare a climate emergency in Parliament? Because of us.
Yeah.
So it's an effective way, but it's also a long journey. But you have to be very organised. And I brought all my 70 years experience of 40 years a green activist, and I found my home because I can use all my skills to produce, to wake people up of the climate emergency because the media's not doing it and people are asleep. And I've got grandchildren, and when my latest grandchild reaches 80 and 2100, we could be seeing the end of the planet.
Yeah.
So we need to say, what else is there to do? But wake up yourself and ask people to wake up.
Amazing. Keep up the good work.
What's your name?
Virgil.
Virgil, I've seen you before.
There we go. America's Most Wanted. Oh, no, only joking. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Virgil.
All right. Okay, good luck. There we go. Quite passionate. Just get the sense of this is the right thing to do. Everybody I'm talking to and listening to the other interviews, there's an understanding of the environmental movement here and environmental movements around the world. They're growing. The voice is growing. It's not a case of like it can't be ignored anymore. It can't be stopped. It's never. You match this in with the science. What the science said, terrifying. We heard earlier about the. Yeah. We heard about the threat of our oceans. I'm going to pass you over to Zoe.
So the march has picked up a little bit of speed. Probably got to do with the fact that we're on a downward slope into the sea. A reminder here of this banner here. You can see here we got COVID-19, the wave that we've had around the world. And we've got the recession caused by COVID-19 and the implications that's having on health and people and businesses. And we've got climate change, which is dwarfing COVID-19 recession. And then on top of this, a big stark reminder of biodiversity collapse. I mentioned it earlier, we see 3/4 of our insect population. Some places in Mexico, they've lost 99% of the monarch butterfly is now gone. We've got declining bee population here in the UK, and the rules by pesticides and all forms of different types of fertilizers and man-made pesticides that have been used. So we've got if the pollinators go, we're going to lose quite a lot of food, so we take for granted, like coffee and chocolate, apples, and the list goes on. Really turning us into a monoculture society, which is pretty shocking. Well, not shocking, it's absolutely scary and terrifying is what it is. And so yeah, this, it's an ecological and climate emergency, and this is what this banner is really reminding us about exactly what's going on. So I'm just going to pan out here.
These are the green spirits.
What's that?
These are the green spirits.
Yeah.
They represent wildlife because it's disappearing.
It represents wildlife. Yeah. So they're representing the loss of wildlife. To one of them, or is they silent?
They don't speak, but I'm their spokesperson.
Oh, you're the spokesperson. What's your name?
David Ramsden, MBE.
David, okay. I'll walk backwards so you don't. I'm better walking.
Okay, I'll watch your back.
There we go. So okay, David's watching my back, but who's watching the back of the biodiversity loss?
Well, we all are, aren't we? And it's dreadful. Unfortunately, our leaders are not leading us in the right direction. Life on Earth has been unsustainable since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and now we're running out of time. 1 million species face extinction right now. The extinction rate is between 10 and 100 times faster than the natural extinction rate. And even if climate change wasn't happening, we'd still have a major problem because we're in the middle of the 6th mass extinction event. And it's the first one to ever be caused by a single species.
And obviously it's humans that are destroying our planet. And so they don't say anything, but it's just a representation of the losses that we're facing.
So yeah, they partly attract attention because they don't say anything and don't do anything fast either. They move incredibly slowly. But spectacles like this have the effect of raising people's awareness because people ask themselves, why? Why are people doing this? Why are they dressing up in green? Why are they waving all these flags? And that's what we need to do. We need to wake people up, particularly wake them up, because right now what they need to do is take their MP, their Member of Parliament, and get them to support the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill, which is going to our Parliament to be voted on. That is a lifeline, and that desperately needs support. So the Green Spirits are here to honour the protesters, to help to raise awareness.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So keep up the good work.
You're welcome.
The Green Spirits. So we're now towards the bottom. A little cut into some nice stocks. There you go. We got somebody here. Listen to the science. Are you a scientist?
I am. I'm a professor of ecology.
Professor of studied.
Well, I did a lot. I'm not training, but I know quite a lot.
You probably know quite a lot of scary stuff.
I do. I know from the biodiversity point of view, we have about 1 million species threatened with extinction from just loss of habitats, land use change, pollution, etc. And over 1 million more threatened with extinction under climate change by the end of the century.
That's a lot.
Yes, there's an estimated about 8 million or so species on this planet, so that's a huge proportion.
So I'm going to say that. So we've got 8 million species.
Estimated.
What?
Estimated 8 million.
Estimated 8 million
species of, what's that, mammals?
Of mammals.
Yeah. Okay. And we're losing 1 million.
Well, it's estimated that under current loss of habitat, pollution, ecosystem breakdown, we're estimated about 1 million threatened with extinction in the next few decades.
The next 2 decades, wow. So that's like 12% loss of all species in the next 20 years.
That's climate change.
And that's not without climate change.
Yeah, you add climate change to the picture, it's probably over 1 million more by the end of the century. So that's conservative estimates, to the best of our knowledge.
That's very, very scary. Yeah. Are you a scientist as well?
No, I'm a lawyer.
A lawyer? Can we sue the government?
Yes, sue the government.
Yeah.
The government's failing. All our governments are failing us.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're failing us on biodiversity, as James said. All the governments all over the world.
Yeah.
We're in serious trouble.
We are in serious trouble. So, trying to backwards here. I'll keep up the good work, guys. So we're now coming into the centre of St. Ives. We got all the locals are coming out to watch the spectacle. I'm just going to have a quick walk up here to get a bird's eye view.
How are you?
Here we go. You get to see what I can see. So I'm standing up on a couple of steps. We got people giving out flyers. Thank you very much. There's information about the Plymouth G7 movement for climate justice, solidarity. The message is clear. We need global action, not more empty promises. As far as having more information, the climate and ecological emergency is having a real impact today. Locally in Cornwall, I can hear you. Just a little bit loud here. I was going to walk ahead, down away from the samba band. Going to do a quick sound check with Director Vlad. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'll try and get it ahead. So the G7. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. G7.
So the G7 governments are meeting, and the decisions they make and the actions they take have huge ramifications in this year at the beginning of the 2020s. At this moment in the climate crisis, they will set a precedent of action or inaction for the rest of the world. It's time to deliver on all the promises they've made in the past and then step up to the scale of the challenge we already know we face. This is the time for leadership. G7, act now.
I'm asking today for G7 leaders to use their power for not just their own countries, but for planet Earth. Because we are all interconnected and the time is now. Please remember that what happens here has a global effect, and there is millions of displaced people from environmental collapse today in the global south. There is millions of people starving today. Make it now where we learn what solidarity means. Solidarity requires us to see each other as the same, equal. It means sharing power, it means sharing resources, and it means sharing privilege. There is no future without all of us working together.
The blackbirds here are sending the message, they're sounding the alarm to the leaders at G7 to stop destroying the earth and use their policies to heal the earth. So they're coming collectively by sounding the alarm, and here's the alarm they're sounding.
Okay, yeah, if you're just joining us, we've had a bit of an blackout. We've just had a couple of minutes of silence. So we're now very close. We're only about 100 meters from the shore. Huge amount of television crews all jostling for position. So I was going to see if you can see what I've got going on here. Yeah. So we had a couple of minutes silence. The whole march parade stopped. So we've got the Black Crows leading the march. We've got a cameraman or camera people fighting for position. The silence now. So yeah, we did have a couple of minutes where the internet blacked out. It was probably because of so many people on these small streets in St. Ives. Everybody jostling for the same bit of broadband. So this is the front of the procession. Sound the alarm. The streets are absolutely packed. People watching from the bars and restaurants. So I'd say it actually took me quite a long time going on the back streets to get to the front of the march. Sorry. I was going to keep on walking towards the front here. Get to see what I see. Just going to find a nice little position to pull over. I'll just give you just show you a little bit of St. Ives. Quite a beautiful place. The tide has gone way out. And now we've got the tide, the wave
the Extinction Rebellion wave coming in, filling the streets. So we got XR Youth at the front. Do you have a quick word from for Extinction Rebellion? You guys at the front of the march. How's it gone today?
Yeah, I think it's gone good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
What's it been like walking through and seeing all these people?
Yeah, it's felt amazing. It's really good to see everyone's like beautiful artwork and stuff as well, and just feel powerful.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Bristol.
From Bristol.
Yeah, and then it's a mix really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. So yeah, so we got the world press on us here. Lots of people. So we got it's amazing hearing all these different languages of people speaking. There's Japanese, some Arabic, probably lots more. As I said, we got the world leaders and the entourage, the media entourage. Are actually all based in Summit, which is about 20-30 miles from here. We've got people with ice creams, playing in the beach, and now they're watching the march go by. There we go. So we're just slowing down a little bit. Let's see if I can stand up here. Oh, how's it going? There we go. Look at that. So yeah, so there we go. So welcome back to the front of the march, where people are enjoying the music, the drumming. So we still got holiday makers down here. I wondered, did some of them know when they booked what was actually going to be happening here with the G7? So we're now walking around the harbour and the beach, the seafront. I'm just jostling my way to the front again. So yeah, some very powerful interviews today from the team, listening to the motivation of what gets people to come on what's described as a bus person holiday, giving up their time, travelling as far as Dundee in Scotland, and all the different Extinction Rebellion groups being represented. XR elders, XR youth, we got scientists, we've been talking to some educators. It's been quite phenomenal, really. So one thing for certain is the world press have something to report and photograph today. I'm actually just going to go. I've got another good view for you here. Just going to go in a little bit. Stand up in here. I'm going to pan around very, very slowly. And you can see the length This is going the whole way back, the whole way along the promenade. As far as you can see is a wave of rebels. We now have a wave of silence.
We're all live, or things like that. They're not happening.
How you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Oh, don't know if we're allowed to hug or not. Hmm? Oh, we are live. Sorry. Hello.
I'm here because I want there to be action about climate change, and this is the meeting where they need to decide these things. It's G7.
What's the idea of this march and the moments of silence?
The march in general is fantastic, like it always is at XR. It's so friendly and so fun while still protesting about the things that we care about. But I think the moments of silence have been incredibly poignant, showing, we're talking about all the people who have suffered at the front lines of environmentalists, and I think that's such an important conversation.
So over here in the UK, we're able to protest, but in some countries we're not able to. What would you say to campaigners in other countries?
I think protest is a democratic show how they feel on issues, including climate change. And I, you know, feel immense pity, and I'm very sorry for the people who aren't able to protest, because there are major issues like this going on in the world at the moment.
And also, do you want to talk about raising voices across the globe?
Yeah. Look at all that. Sorry, it's the whole view of everyone. Or not even everyone, some of the protests.
Wow, the march is just going all the way around the seafront. So yeah, being able to get the voices heard of campaigners around the world. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially because climate change is affecting places in the global south, people in the global south the most, I think it's so important that we're listening to the voices of people from this country, which is what the delegates are going to be talking about later today. I think that's such an important part of the climate conversation internationally, that we're just not having it at a political level. Even at massive events like COP26, those voices of the countries from the global south just are never ever prioritised, even though they're dealing with climate change right now. So I think it's so important.
Anything else you want to add?
I think days like this are fantastic, and they're showing the government that this is where our priorities lie, this is what we care about, and I think that's the thing to remember when you're at events like this.
Can I just say that Maya's got a book coming out very shortly. What's your book called? What's it about?
I have a book called We Have a Dream coming out in August, and it's all about 30 different young environmental activists from the global south all over the world, and again highlighting those voices that I think are so important.
Look forward to seeing that. Thank you very much. Down on the beach now. Vincent.
How are you doing? I'm loving it. Today we're just here in unity, celebrating and making sure our voices are heard.
What does this mean to you, being here where the G7's happening, the world leaders?
Surprise, surprise, G7 tells lies. That's exactly what it means to me. We need to decolonize the economy. We need to be able to show what marginalized communities are going through. It's not okay that 7 of the richest countries, the privileged few, are the ones dictating what our life should be. We stand in solidarity, in strength, and we want this to be the beginning of waking up the whole country and the whole globe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also like the whole, your feet are going to get wet. With the ecological and climate emergency, the first countries to get affected, the main ones are going to be the global south, which are the poorest countries in the world.
Exactly.
Central parts of Africa are just, Chad is just unbelievable what's happening over there, and low-lying countries.
For me, I think it's all about reparation, cancellation of debt. Colonial countries need to be able to go back and fix and decolonize the economy. They can't sit there on the wealth that was built on the back of the global south and not be able to look at the damage they've done. It's a climate injustice what they've done. Yeah. And right now they're giving us token gestures, something that should be mandatory. They're making us feel like it's a pleasure or like we're privileged to get the answers.
Yeah, and you're so right, and we've got like 7 leaders make all these decisions. They're representing the wealth and power while everybody else suffers,
No, honestly, it's beautiful when you think about how we are united today. Look at the crowd. Look how much people are here today. And this is what it is when we talk about movement of movements. Building that voice and influence and making sure their voices are heard. We stand in unity today, showing that everybody from the global south needs to be counted for. And these G7 count for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You're walking down to the sea? Yeah, I got to walk down with you, yeah. So this is unbelievable scenes going on here. In case you're just joining us, we are on the beach in St. Ives, where the march has gone through. And we're with Bavini, who's part of the United for Black Lives. And we've got people of the sea, stilt walkers. got people now spreading out all over across the beach. How you doing, young man? How's the march getting on for you?
It's going great. It's good to see so many activists down here to give the G7 message that they need to act now on the climate crisis.
That's great. Are you going to go? You going to go and get your feet wet?
Probably not today. Might be a bit tough.
No, good. Keep up the good work. So I'm just going to walk backwards so you can just get a scale of actually what's going on here. There's so many people here. Now look at this. I come across so many beautiful people. Can we walk and talk?
Yes, we can walk and talk.
How you doing? What's your name?
Bavini.
Bavini, what brought you to the beaches here in Cornwall?
Well, you know, we have G7 world leaders here, and really the demand is to work for the whole globe, not just for the G7 countries, because we're all in it together. Putting policies out there that just centralize power and money and greed into just the G7 means that the rest of the globe will be dying, and it's already dying quite rapidly. And there's no separation. You can only hold back the tide for so long with your wealth and power. The climate collapse will be hitting you if you don't change your ways and look to be more collaborative and to have a unified approach, just as we did for COVID. The world all over deployed resources, deployed power, deployed researchers, and found a solution. There's solutions to be had if we all learn to work together.
Amazing, amazing. Well, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
There you go. How you doing? Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
Oh, you're a journalist. Where are you from?
CBC.
CBC. Wow. Is that in America?
No, Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah. There you go. So we get interviewees from all over the world. Anything else you want to add?
What else? What else? You know what? We have the most amazing, beautiful planet. This planet's going to survive without us. As a species, we've got to understand we're part of an ecological makeup. And if we, as humans, don't learn and adapt and put ourselves into line with the fact that we're integrated with this environment and with nature and with animals. We have allowed ourselves to think we're above the ecosystem. We are part of it, not separate, and everything's to play for now. We can do this.
We can, yeah.
We can absolutely do this. There's so much hope to be had. And you as individuals out there, please don't lose hope. Collect together, get your communities together. They can only continue to make these policies if we are divided or if we don't get together. We are the many, they are the few. Let's do it. We can do it. And look, with a lot of colour and all of these beautiful people. It doesn't have to be boring.
Amazing.
It doesn't have to be.
Amazing. Keep up the great work. Okay, catch you later. Wow, so this is just unbelievable scenes that are going on here. It gives you a scale of what's going on. I'm just going to have a little walk across the beach here, so you can just see the amount of different groups that have participated in this this march. It's panning around here, and you can still see now that people are spread out a bit more, not tightly packed in the little narrow streets of Cornwall in St. Ives. You got people making decisions about whether or not they want to walk down in their shoes or not. So I'm going to pass you over to Zoe now.
Hi, I'm here with Blue. Blue is one of the tunnelers in Euston. Blue, describe what's been going on today.
Today, all sorts, a lot of actions, and at the moment a big march in St. Ives, protest kind of about G7 and how governments aren't telling the truth and aren't acting as if the climate crisis is real.
So are you here for the 3 days with the G7, and what's the atmosphere like?
It's amazing. It's really, really really hopeful, and there's some amazing art happening everywhere, and people just, trying, we can do this, we can change the world. It's really wonderful to see.
We've got Samba coming up behind us, who might struggle with the audio slightly, but if other young people wanted to get involved in climate activism, what would you say to them?
That not to lose hope. It's really scary and it's really terrifying what's happening in the world, particularly for my generation, generations below me. But there's amazing people doing stuff like this with Samba Band, and we can make a change.
Okay, hoping you can hear. So we've got a few days of actions taking place here. Tell us what it was like in the tunnels and how that campaigning was.
It was really tough, quite scary, but it felt good. It felt very I was in the place where I could make the most change and do the most. And usually I have this kind of feeling of guilt and like I'm not doing all that I could be doing, and I'm not changing things. But in the tunnel was very this is effective. This is activism, and this is working.
So Blue spent days and days in a tunnel and in Euston in London as part of a campaign. Thanks for all you do, and I'll let you get on with the march.
Cheers.
Drowning in promises.
So we're now making our way across the bay. Some very clever people have taken their shoes off. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, how did March get on? Still going. So this is for Facebook UK, Extinction Rebellion.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
From Wales.
Wales! Yaki da!
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to multitask here. What does your sign say? Body. Yeah. Say it again. Body. Body. I'll hold it. Yeah. Body.
Body.
Yeah.
Mewn.
Mewn. Adawition.
Yes.
And in Irish, what does that mean?
It's over that side.
Oh, drowning in promises. Oh, okay, very good.
What would have been Irish?
It's been a long time since I did Gaelic in school, but you put me on the spot there. But yeah, you did it for the wave.
We did it for the wave.
Yeah.
So, Sunny Sian Gymraeg Adra, we speak Welsh at home, so we have a bilingual banner.
Yeah, no, that's great, and especially now we've got leaders from all over the world and people from all different countries. So you might as well send them as many messages in as many different languages.
Yeah, I think it's important because there's little communities that hit all up and down the coast, and it's bigger than just a sort of environmental issue, isn't it? There's issues about communities being hollowed out by economic pressures and all the things that tie into taking all the wealth out of the planet and giving that to very few people. So anything you can get in of a message that is something small about your community, specifically if it's got a history of resilience, like in the UK, then that's worth doing.
And I heard there's a town in Wales that's going to be one of the first have to be evacuated because of rising sea levels.
Yeah, that's one of the first places they're actually talking about climate refugees, and they've said they're not defending it as there's no defences going in there. That's it. They've had their chips and they can face the music. So that's sets a precedent, doesn't it? Once you go around the country and you say, okay, it's okay, we can get rid of that place. They don't count, and it's not going to be St Ives, and it's not going to be the homes, the £1 million homes around us, is it? That are the places. They'll be protected, they'll be kept safe, but although they will go, but they'll be the last to go. So
they will do something.
Yeah.
So say this once more. Body. Maun Adiwidion. Woo! Okay, take care, guys. There you go. So that's great to see. Banners in different languages. People travel here. There's a village in Wales. It's going to be the first town or city, town that has to be abandoned because of coastal erosion and rising sea levels.
So it's a very, very real threat that's actually happening. So we've got people now walking. I just, you know, it's unbelievable. I thought earlier I said there was maybe 1,000 people, but I can just see way off into the distance, and there's still even more people coming down onto the beach. And then we look down this way ahead. As far as you can see, there's people, rebels. So it's been quite a phenomenal turnout. I can just say, like, where we're camping, it's nothing like the 5-star hotels that these guys are staying in, but the energy levels is absolutely fantastic. So tomorrow we're going to be going to 20, 30 miles away from here to Clonmel, just on the other side of, I suppose this is a peninsula. So I'm going to pass you back to Zoe.
Hello, so I believe you're a scientist.
I am. I'm a professor of ecology and I work with Extinction Rebellion scientists.
And yeah, so what's your issue?
Well, I have a particular focus on biodiversity. Recent reports suggest that even without climate change, we're going to lose about 1 billion species in the next few decades through habitat loss, ecosystem degradation, pollution, and things like that. And we add climate change on top of that, it's probably another 1 million or so species before the end of the century.
So one of the messages of Extinction Rebellion is listen to the science. And do you think that the G7 are going to listen to the science and act on it?
I think they listen to the science, but they don't act on it properly. They tend to pay lip service to the science, and they come up with targets which they don't achieve. We've had many international agreements over the years. The Convention on Biological Diversity led to the HE targets, none of which were kept to. And so making more promises and more targets is just not going to work. We need to see action. And we need to see action today, not tomorrow, not next year, but now. And across the world, the G7, as amongst the world's richest nations, really need to take a lead on that, as our exploitation of the globe has led to this biodiversity crisis.
So the march has come down to the beach now. How many people do you think took part in this?
I'm just trying to guesstimate that. I'm not very good at these things. It seems like a few thousand to me.
And yeah, they're heading off down the beach, heading towards another cove. So we're going to head that way.
Great. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Listen to the science, listen to the scientists. And we've heard this quite a lot from Extinction Rebellion scientists, but also just scientists in general are being largely ignored. They are raising the alarm and feel like that the leaders are not listening to them. So now the march is we're now walking along the beach, and this is on the other side of this headland is where the conference, the G7 conference, is actually taking place. So symbolic act is to walk as close as possible, well, safe as possible really. It's not to get people climbing over rocks, to go and to raise the alarm to the G7 leaders as they're probably tucking into one of their breaks. Fossil fuels are killing the planet. It's been a lot of going on about Shell. The false information that they've been spewing us for the last 30, 40 years. It's been proven that they've actually been funding climate change denying think tanks such as the Heartland Institute in the States. And we've got the equivalent here in the UK, 55 Tufton Street, where we've got think tanks where we don't know where the funding comes from, very highly influential, and put policies in place that we can't do very much about. So the power of the oil and gas companies of spreading misinformation is the same as the tobacco companies in the 80s and 90s, you know, trying to disprove that there was a link between smoking and lung cancer. which now when we think about it, seems, looking back at history, it seems absolutely crazy. We're at that same period now, where now the science is now being listened to, but it's not being acted upon. We're not getting the level or the intention or the focus that needs to be put in place. We heard earlier on from Sarah, she's talking about putting the equivalent of the Marshall Plan in. We've now got the Red Rebels. Sorry. The Red Rebels have now made it down to the beach. And also on top of that, the media have made it down to the beach as well. Which is fantastic. It's what's needed. Anything to raise the alarm. Yeah. Oh. They're slowly all right. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people watching here and around the world, we've just seen the most phenomenal sight in the ocean here. Don't know if we can zoom in, but we have a pink boat. Pink boat with an Extinction Rebellion flag is sailing in between. Looks like some police boats and also a HMS warship. I don't know if it's possible to zoom in on that. We've got a lone person walking into the sea. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're here right on the beach, and we can see the pink Extinction Rebellion boat has arrived. Do you want to tell me about the boat? Yeah. I don't know anything about this, but I'm only quick to turn round and go back so I can film it. Okay. But if you're interested in boats, we're sailing lots of boats and cruising in the harbour. Wonderful. I'll look out for that. So we've got the boat here. It's spread out now, the march right across this bay. And protesters getting as close as they can to Carbis Bay, where the G7 leaders, so-called leaders of the world are. And here we have the Red Rebels, familiar with Extinction Rebellion, protests, so powerful in their slow movements. So photographed as well. So the red rebel numbers are growing here. It's going to move over. So you can see the pink ship in the very far distance and the red rebels walking through the water in this bay in Cornwall. The march has been going on for about 2 hours now. Been right down to from the top of a hill all the way down to along the seafront, along the beach. And if I had a longer lens, you would be able to see the bay, the sailing ship in the sea out there, the Extinction Rebellion banner off the back of it. Still hundreds of people on the beach here. Interview? Interview?
Yeah. No, thank you.
That's fine, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, these are truly, truly amazing scenes. I'm always blown away every time I come to an Extinction Rebellion protest, demonstration, the quality of the people, speakers, the passion of everybody involved, and the symbolic nature of today being here on the beach in Cornwall. And right behind me, in between several police boats and a warship, is a pink boat, which is the reflection of the pink boat that was in Oxford Circus in the April 2019 rebellion. In defiance, flying the Extinction Rebellion flag at half-mast while swimmers go by. And we've got just to the left, we have boats full of, it looks like police divers, or it could be army divers to the left-hand side there. The boat's just sitting there, inspiring everybody. One thing is for certain, everybody will know that Extinction Rebellion has been here today and why they've been here today. And so we've got now a police, it looks like 2 policemen are just coming over. They're pointing at them. Oh no, so they're going past with a camera. So obviously just seeing what's going on, assessing the situation. Just a reminder to anybody watching who's not familiar with Extinction Rebellion, we are a non-violent direct action organisation, meaning what we do is based on the philosophy of non-violent movements like Gandhi in the past. We got the tide is now coming in, just moving backwards a little bit. And it's going to pan around to the left. We got more, another 2 boats, police, and we've got another boat patrolling down there. I'm going to just pan around slowly. We get a scale of what's going on. It's all very peaceful here. It's quite good that we're getting a lot of media attention, because one of the biggest problems we've had is about telling the truth and about media talking about the ecological and climate emergency in the same context that they talk about the COVID emergency and other emergencies that we faced, and give it the proper attention that's needed, without the members of the public understanding the scale and the severity of the threat. We're never going to get the support that's actually needed to tackle this global emergency. So now people are just resting, watering up, just enjoying the beach. Kind of wish now I brought my swimming togs and a towel. I'd pop in for a little dip to cool off. So we're gonna wrap up now after this long march. Gonna rehydrate, and we're gonna come back a little bit later. There's activities happening all day today, so stick with us for part 3. Oh, before that, we've actually got somebody sounding the alarm. There's quite a few people sounding the alarm today. So yeah, so if you are watching this, we're asking everybody to please share. Please go and share with as many people as possible. And also, we heard also on the march, if you're in the UK, we need people to support the Ecological and Climate Emergency Bill. We also need people to put pressure on their governments in the different countries around the world. So the louder that we scream and make noise, and actually also have, you know, scientific-based conversations with them about the crisis and what's needed, we're not going to get the funding and we're not going to get the laws in place that actually needed to tackle the climate emergency. We need to divest from fossil fuels right now. We heard the IEA saying, the International Energy Agency, we have to stop all new oil and gas. And we've got Boris Johnson and the government here who are now giving new licenses for oil and gas exploration in the UK. We've also got like new oil and gas exploration happening in different parts of the world, including, and scarily, there's people eyeing up now the Arctic. So yeah, we need to rapidly divest, reinvest in sustainable green energy. And also we need to put a lot of money into education, and for a just transition we need to bring countries in the global south with us. The G7 countries can afford it, but countries that are being directly affected, they haven't got the same luxury. And I'm going to finish on this brave man that's about to go for a swim. Dun, dun, dun. All right, off you go. We should have some Baywatch music going on here. This is highly embarrassing. He wants to swim out, see what's happening on the pink boat.